It is Tuesday. It is Tuesday, December 17th, 2025, and I am live. This is Todd Borenstein. This is the art of Todd Borenstein. Let me mess with my camera a little bit. Okay, that's fine. Um, Drawing demo, female figurative drawing demo for today. I have pre-chosen a reference photo that I'm going to look at while I draw, but it's mostly out of my head. My tools are, first of all, I'm on black for a color. Brush library, I think today I am going to go to my favorite, which is calligraphy chalk with no modifications. All right, let's get started. Oop. Just kind of going crazy today with the lines. Hair, I always like to do crazy. And I've said it before, the thing I like about the this tool, calligraphy chalk tool, is it's very expressive. Uh, the line does exactly what I want it to do, and it even does things that I don't even think of. Curly retro kind of hair. Again, this is probably my preliminary drawing. I'm going to do some funny things or funky things with it today, I think. Hope everybody's getting into the Christmas mood out there. Had a little tragedy yesterday here in Madison, Wisconsin. That kind of, I don't even know how to suggest it, say it, put a damper on the Christmas mood here in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm not going to go into what it is. You've probably seen it on the news. Tragedy. Let's see. I could see by my streaming software here that at present no one's watching me do this live. But I'm hoping people will watch it after the fact, because I believe it'll be on YouTube for a while, if not forever. I'm not sure how that works. After I'm done, so people can watch it after the fact. That's what I'm hoping for, anyway. I always put cool eyelashes on my figures, if the reference photo has it or not. It just helps dress it up. And anyone who has been watching me and tuning in or seeing my videos after the fact on YouTube will notice that sometimes I have a camera on me and sometimes I don't. I just have my iPad Pro screen. Today I've chosen to be on camera, just because I have a little extra time today. Lucky you. Ha! Get to see my mug. My band played last Friday. Pretty good turnout. We played at the Chief's Tavern here in Madison, Wisconsin. Small place, but I like that because a very small crowd looks like a huge crowd. And I always play my bass better and sing better if people are out there dancing and whooping and hollering. So, thanks to everybody who came out to see us. My band is called They Drive By Night. And we play in the Madison area. Don't go very far out of the Madison area. Filling in the hair right now. leaning on a table. All right, let's find one thing that's really cool in Procreate is you've got a lot of cool textures that you can choose from to fill in things with. Um, I have clothing patterns here, so let's do something cool here. How about what's this? That's kind of cool. Let's use that. Again, yes, I am using Procreate, which is an art app, with the iPad Pro, the 2024 version that just came out with the new M4 chip. That is super fast, and this thing has 1 terabyte of storage space. And 16 gig of RAM memory. All right. Let's get rid of the reference photo that I was looking at, and let's bring in a cool watercolor paper that I like to use. You can see that it slaps it right on the top. I'll go over here to layers and bring it down to the bottom. Now I can get rid of the background color because I don't need it anymore. And now it's on watercolor paper. Let's see. Let's color it. Okay. Let's go to my colors here. I already pre-loaded in one of my favorite palettes. You could use the color wheel to pick colors, or you can load in palettes. And I chose this one because it has some skin tones. It also has some primary colors, sort of, and secondary colors. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to choose the skin tone first. And let's go over to painting and choose spectra. At full strength opacity, just bring it in. Now it shows the black drawing that I did over the paint because that's where it is in the layers palette. I have the color underneath the black line drawing. Now this particular brush is real persnickety as far as the pressure you put on the pencil. So the more pressure you put on the pencil, the darker the color will be. So let's just put in what I like to call a base color on all of the flesh, skin, and that's okay if the color shows different pressures that you're putting on the pencil. It just gives different modeling to the skin. So I'm going to put a darker tone in, just taking the color wheel and going from where it was and going down into the darker color of it. And say my light source is going that way. So things on this side of the face will be lighter than this side of the face. So I'll take my darker color and go over here. Okay, now starting on the color wheel where we were, take the dot and go up to a lighter tone of that skin tone, and actually almost white, and go where the light is hitting it. Okay, now let me take the eraser, and I've chosen the chalk brush. In the eraser dialog drop down, and erase where you want the skin tone not to be, where things are going to be white. Now I'm just going to pick a blue out of my palette that I preloaded, just just for coloring purposes, and give her blue eyes. And let's pick a red for her lips. And same as I did with this for the skin, Let's grab a little lighter skin, a little lighter red tone for her lips here, and give her lips some highlights. Throw in a little bit of white. Highlight on the top lip. Let's grab this blue. Give me a little lighter to show highlights in the eyes. Okay. Now let's do some shading. Go to the shading tool, soft brush, under the airbrushing category. With the opacity set about halfway, make your brush small. Up to that. And do some shading. Not a whole lot. All right. Now let's do some hair color. How about a kind of a dark red, reddish brown. Just for sake of our drawing here. And then just fill it in, because you're going to be doing highlights after it's all filled in. Okay, now again, going up here and making that color lighter. Oops. There. Sometimes when you hit the screen with your fingers, it will undo what you've done already, and that's really bothersome. But you can just tap it again and get it back. So now I'm putting in highlights using the same color that I used for the hair, but coloring it in where the light would hit it the most. About like that. Now you can shade it. Go to your shading tool and just lightly go over the edges, not in the middle of the color, but just the edges. Because if you went in the middle of the color, it will weaken the color. And you don't want that. You want it to be super strong. Okay. Now let's put a little bit of makeup on her. Let's get some, go to the color wheel, get me kind of like a bluish magenta. Let's do that. A little more pink. And then with that, we're still on the Spectra painting tool. And color above the eyes. It really makes them pop. Like that. And just a little trick. Put some on the nose. Putting the makeup on the nose, I know that it's not usually how the human body works, but it makes it a little more cartoony, illustrate-y, I guess. I don't know. I just like it. Okay. I'm going to go to pure white on the color wheel, and I am going to come using the same tool, I think. I'm going to put some pure white highlights. The nose. Just to make things look more natural. All right, let's put some pure white highlights in her hair. Just where it's extremely hitting the light. Like that. Okay. Now let's pick out a color out of our palette to do her dress. How about this kind of greenish blue? Now remember, we're underneath the black. You see I get rid of the black. That's just the color. Bring the black in, it covers it. So we're still in the color, so we're underneath this cool pattern that I drew in here. It's just basically like filling in a coloring book. Okay, I'm just going to take the shader tool and even all of my strokes out. Okay, now we can go up here and with the color wheel, bring it down a little darker and give it some shadowing. Shadow from her hand here. And a little bit of fanning it. If I was working in oils on canvas, this would be called the fan brush. It takes the colors and blends them. But in Procreate, I believe it's just called the blender brush. This being a Tuesday during the work week, I don't expect there's anybody watching me right now. Nope, there isn't. No one's watching me live. But when I did this, I think I went live on Sunday. I don't think I did it on Saturday, but when I went live on Sunday, there were about 5 people watching me live, which was pretty cool. Okay. So now I think I'm gonna add some kind of cool background. I preloaded this. I found this online. Just a cool paper. and I'm gonna throw it in here. Let's throw it in like right there, so that's behind her. So since it's behind her, I have to move it down lower than the drawing. And since you can kind of see it behind her, I am going to take my eraser tool and just any brush that could make the eraser work, get rid of it so that it's not showing through my figure. Normally you wouldn't have to do this because the paint is opaque and you wouldn't be able to see what's underneath it. But since I used a watercolor brush and went lightly on it, you can kind of see it through the bottom. And you can make sure you got it all by just getting rid of your color and even the line drawing if you want, and make sure that it's not where you don't want it to be. And then bring everything back in. Okay. Now, since I have a watercolor paper as a base, sometimes I like to use the effect for the color instead of normal, which makes it opaque. I can go to linear burn is what I usually like to use, and watch what it does to the color. It blends it in with the paper in the background. That's my favorite thing to do. It just kind of makes everything come alive. And sometimes if I want to make it really pop, I will go up here to my drawing, my black drawing, and swipe over to the left, and you'll see these boxes. You can lock it in place, make a duplicate of it, or delete it. Hit the duplicate and it makes it darker. So whatever black you put down, by duplicating it, it'll make it twice as black. So I like to do that. I'm not going to color in where the table that she's leaning on is. Just because. But what I am going to do is I'm going to put a shadow of her against that background picture. So what I do is I'll hit the inserted image, which is this background, and then I will hit the plus sign to add a layer. Now on that layer, I will make that linear burn so that it shows the background behind it. And I will come up here, will set my finger down just on one of the darker tones, like that, I suppose. Or you can just use black. But I'll use that. I'll come up here, come to airbrushing, soft brush. Now, what I lay down will be transparent to the background. And how I do that and why I do that is to create a shadow. So make my brush tip a little larger, got the opacity about 50%, and imagine where the shadow would be. That's a little dark, so I'm going to lighten it even more, the opacity, and make it a little bigger. And just imagine how her shadow would be up against that background. Okay, fill it in. You have to worry about covering up the colors. Okay, there's the shadow. So now what I want to do, I want to get rid of the color and go to my eraser brush and make sure that that shadow isn't where I don't want it to be. Like, you don't want it on the figure because it's behind the figure. So you just take your eraser tool and get rid of it. Get rid of the shadow wherever you don't want it. And then bring back in your color. Now you have a shadow. She's casting a shadow on that background thing. Last thing I'm going to do is white highlights, pure white. And the tool I'm using is calligraphy chalk. And what I'll do is I will add a layer on top of everything else. So this layer, layer 7, will be on top of everything else. So I just go through and I need some highlights in her eyes. Actually, what I'm going to use, instead of the chalk, I'm going to use the, I'm going to go to inking, and I'm going to go ink bleed. Ink bleed is what I'm going to use and make it small for her eyes. Make those eyes pop a little more. Let's grab some highlights on her lips. About a little highlight on the tip of her nose. And you can go in and make the whites of her eyes whiter. And put little highlights in there. Helps the eyes pop a little bit. Like that. How about, why don't we use, I'm going to go back to calligraphy, chalk. It's still on white, and I'm going to do some piping on her dress. Just to kind of fancy it up. Make sure I have a good flow here. All right, and believe me, I see that these fingers are really messy. I'm going to go into the black line with an eraser. Make it small. This finger especially is bad. See if I can't clean that up a little bit. That one finger was pretty wanky. fingernails. Now I see I have to do something in the color here. I have to add some color behind there. Separate those fingers. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not bad. So I guess I'll just use white, and I will do her fingernails. That's better. Okay. That's today's drawing. And let's see. I'll sign it. I'll go up to the top layer, get some black color. I like to sign with inking the Inka tool, INKA, under the inking brush library. And I will throw my name in here. Oops. For those wondering, right there is Borenstein. And then I go like this, and this, and that's a T. So for Todd Borenstein. So that explains my signature. All right, it's rough. I could do a lot more to it, but I think that is today's example of how to do a figure, how I do figure drawing. So I will try to get back on live streaming tomorrow at noon with a new drawing. So that's today's drawing with Todd Borenstein. To anyone who's going to be watching this, thank you for watching, and I will see you later. Thanks.